Today we are at Curate Coffee.
Hello.
Our champion, Shaun. Can you please introduce yourself?
Hi guys, I'm Shaun and I'm the two-time Malaysian Brewers Cup champion. I'm also the co-founder of Curate Coffee Roasters, Ono Specialty Coffee and Matcha, and Flour with Ono. So basically, I've been in the coffee industry for over the past 12 years. And it has been a long journey because when I first started in coffee, at the time, I was actually previously a university lecturer. Yeah. So I was actually teaching food and beverage and events management in the university. And it was at a time in 2012, I happened to meet like a lot of professional coffee people from around Asia. And that's how I got myself started in coffee. And also the reason being is because like being in coffee at that time, I was actually a professional MC that hosts a lot of professional coffee events.
Okay.
And I had the opportunity to actually host a symposium. And that's where I got to get connected with a lot of coffee professionals around Asia. And it was one time where I actually managed to taste an espresso that tastes like blueberry jam and chocolate. You know, and I really asked this person, hey, did you add anything into this espresso? And that person said like, no. I was like, wow, okay, that's where it piqued my interest. And that's where I wanted to explore more into specialty coffee.
Started to love coffee.
Yeah, correct.
That's so interesting.
Correct.
When did you start the Curate Coffee?
Okay, so Curate Coffee Roasters unofficially started back in 2021 during pandemic. And at the time, my ex-student and my ex-colleague, he was in Singapore and he wanted to come back to Malaysia and we wanted to start up a project together. And I was thinking, hey, since I planned to open something with coffee and matcha and we needed someone to roast coffee for our business, why don't you join us as a business partner and roast coffee for us? Because anyway, he was in Singapore roasting coffee, and then I was happy to have him back in Malaysia, and we started up Curate Coffee Roasters back in, I think, March 2021. And at that time, we were starting to roast at our friend's place, just co-sharing, because at the time, it's during pandemic.
Yeah, exactly, like in the middle of COVID.
Correct, and then we also are very uncertain in terms of whether we should invest in a roastery at that time. So we first opened Ono Specialty Coffee and Matcha first, featuring specialty coffee and matcha at the same level. And then the roastery officially only started last year in April, in 2023. Yeah. So once we once we got the confidence, it's like, okay, I think it's about time to open our roastery, and that's where we started to scout for locations, and that's where we found this place.
Nice.
Good choice. Good choice.
Thank you.
Yeah, I like it as well. Okay, so now yourself as a face of the brand itself right now, how important do you see yourself connected to Curate Coffee? Okay,
so for us, branding is everything, and of course, definitely, Curate Coffee Roasters is also having the base as it's the home of the Malaysian Brewers Cup champion, and of course, among all the national champions in Malaysia, I was one of the very first to have a roastery. Okay, at that time, yeah.
Oh, wow.
So I was very proud of that, and of course, definitely, for me, Curate Coffee Roasters is all about making things approachable for my customers and ensuring that we take a lot of feedback from our peers, from our customers, so that we are able to actually grow together, not just as a brand or myself as a national champion, but also together with our community. I think that's very, very important. I mean, to build our roastery based on the community, getting their feedbacks, understanding more about customers' preferences, so that we'll be able to actually bridge the gap for specialty coffee being approachable.
Okay. That's so interesting.
Thank you.
Okay. Because I heard you joined the competition before,
Correct.
the Malaysian coffee
Correct.
competition. Yeah. How intense was the in terms of the competitive other competitors?
Alright, so I first started competing in the Malaysian Championships back in 2016, but I was competing in barista. So that was my first national competition. At that time, you can see like if you really present a great coffee, and of course your skills in technical and of course calibration is on point, you'll be able to deliver them. And of course at a time in Malaysia, accessibility to really great tasting coffee is not as easy as compared to now. And having been involved with competitions for over the past few years, I can see like how competitive everyone is. Getting great coffee is so easy now, and these days even in Malaysia, like it's so easy to roast coffee. I mean, like everyone can just start out with a small roastery, and everyone's there to challenge each other to do better. And I think that's in a way where I see competition as a platform where we can grow the community. We can also grow each and every coffee professional to be better. Because at the end of the day, it's like we don't want to always have the same people winning or the same few bunch. Oh, they will always be in the finals. There will always be the same people winning. But these days, it's like it's so unpredictable. You know, it's like
because everyone's so good at it.
Yeah, correct. Everyone's like read their rules, understand the score sheets, and you know, and everyone's like doing their best to be on the top, which is what I'm really proud of for Malaysia. Because at the end of the day, so being the coffee ambassador for Malaysia as well, is I really want to see how each and every one, you know, performs better, and we grow the community together. And I always take Indonesia as a perfect example because I feel that Indonesia is the road of becoming very, very amazing in coffee. It's there, you know, it is there, and we hope that Malaysia will one day follow in the footsteps in like Indonesia to be at the top.
Okay,
for sure.
Well, you've competed a lot, right?
Yes.
After years and years, like, and then you start Curate Coffee, and it's very fresh for you. Like, what's your goal after? Like, besides you want to be more approachable.
Yeah.
Like, what's your end game?
What's my end game? So of course, definitely for me, I have my own retirement plan. So my retirement plan basically is still to continue to give back to the community, but in a different field. So you know, being previously as an educator, being lecturing in the university, I personally feel that once our roastery or our business is more stable, I actually have plans to go back to the university to continue teaching, to continue to inspire the future generation for our industry. So that is my plan. Yeah. Well, so while the business is running, but I also want to take a step back from the business to really focus on education, because I always feel that education is really important for the future and younger generation, because they will be the ones that will continue on our legacy for our industry.
So what do you want to teach?
Food and beverage, coffee, anything related or business management, correct, and business management as well.
Industry.
Correct.
So, I mean, like, how the customer in here? What's the habits toward the specialty coffee? I mean, like, this is kind of new, right?
Specialty coffee, to be honest with you, started very much early. It was more apparent in 2015, 2016.
Oh yeah.
More apparent, and it started growing. But I felt that the boom of specialty coffee in Malaysia started during COVID.
Wow.
In 2020. Because at that time, many people don't even know what to do at home, right? So they try to pick up new skills and
just brewing coffee. Also, there's a lot of
home brewers. Correct.
After COVID.
Correct.
Oh, nice.
Correct. And hence that's why one of my presentations that I did for last year for my competition was revolving about how home brewers were, you know, growing in our Malaysian community, and how social media played an important role in navigating through that journey for them. Yeah.
Well, as a roaster itself, you see there's a lot of home brewers that buy your coffee.
Yeah.
Right. Wow. And it's very neighborhood things. Your place is like near like people houses.
Correct.
And there's a lot of people going here just for coffee and then going home again.
Yeah.
Like, what's your thoughts about the future to our specialty coffee?
So,
sorry, like, do you want to make it like a habit, or like you want to make it like a culture?
okay, so good question. So generally for me, when I first started my roastery, it was very apparent and very clear that I wanted to always make specialty coffee more approachable and more commercially applicable. Because at the end of the day, it's like if you're making specialty to specialty, sometimes not many people, like the mass market, can understand.
It feels like it's too exclusive, right?
Correct,
Yeah.
correct. It becomes too exclusive. It's like, oh, only the rich people or people who like are more educated are able to go for this coffee. And that's not how you grow the community. I think it works in many different ways. So to start, like our roastery, we'll soon be launching a little bit more of an easy product that customers can always relate the flavor to. Of course, not just like by whole beans, but by drip bags. Probably our future will be maybe looking forward to like instant coffee, and how I can use these products and make it more approachable. For example, like not just like making coffee, but using the product to actually make a dessert, incorporate into cooking. Yeah, because I used to work in a multinational company that does flavored syrups, so I use that concept to apply it in specialty coffee. Yeah.
You have that kind of FMCG things, right?
Correct. Because I need to think like more than just like making coffee, but I need to think about how we can make our brand more approachable. I use
everyone's able to buy it and
correct.
taste it. Yeah.
That's right. And then especially like in Malaysia, if you guys know this famous matcha brand called Neko Neko Matcha.
Yeah.
Okay, Neko Neko Matcha was a brand that is amazing. They're really focused on their branding, their product quality, and how they made this specialty matcha so commercially applicable, because it can be used as not just as a matcha tea or a matcha latte, but it can be used in desserts, it can be used in cooking, and that's what I wanted specialty coffee to be like. Something that's more.
I see where you're going.
Yeah. Correct. And Neko Neko Matcha, so my business partner is the owner of Neko Neko Matcha.
Oh.
Yeah,
okay.
so one of them is our business partner, and it's happy to have him on board to handle the branding, the creative, and because he doesn't know much about specialty coffee back then, but joining us and having to explore more about tasting different coffees, it made him more understanding more about specialty coffee a little bit more, and he understands where is the direction and product should be like. And he's always there to give us feedback. Hey guys, we should make coffee like this, so that it's more
following the trends.
Correct. Understanding.
That's what people like nowadays. Social media is pretty important right now. So people just finding like through social media, they want to try new things, new coffees.
Correct. And also branding is important. So I think a lot of people forget about. They want to do specialty coffee, but they forget about the branding and marketing, and how important it is to invest in branding and marketing. Yeah, because like for example, like if you guys bring in like the best coffee beans, like from the top farms, but if it's not marketed or branded properly, no one really knows about you.
See it.
Yeah, correct.
It's nice.
So maybe you are more last thoughts, right?
Sure.
Is there anything that you feel like this needs to be like everyone have to know it, like about the coffee scene industry, or anything in Malaysia or everyone in the world? Like, what's your thought about it?
Sure.
Now?
So I think specialty coffee has always been a product that is like people think it's just coffee, right?
Yeah.
Coffee is coffee. Coffee it just tastes like coffee. But if you educate the market a little bit more and make specialty coffee more approachable and understand your customers' needs and wants and pay attention to the details, you will be fine. As long as you communicate, spend a little bit more time, not just being a coffee professional, but being just a customer.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of coffee professionals tend to forget to be a customer. Yeah, because they think that some of the baristas that they don't know how to drink my coffee. No, it's because you fail to understand what your customer, what they're into. Maybe your customers don't really understand about acidity in coffee, but because they have not had that knowledge or skill to understand that. So it's very, very important to actually educate and relate certain flavor profiles to their daily lives. I think that's very important.
I think that's the campaign and that's the mission, I think. Like everyone have to start to drink good coffee, but the access is very hard now.
Correct.
And not people is educated enough to drink a good coffee. So we live in Indonesia, right? Like everyone like drink coffee too good.
Yes.
Just coffee and ground coffee and water.
Yeah.
And that's very hard to do until like the habits after itself changes. And there's a lot of gula aren, iced coffee milk.
Correct.
Is that happening here?
Okay, so in Malaysia, generally we have a very strong kopitiam culture. I think that has been happening for like many years already, because we grew up with kopitiam kopi, so which is basically like coffee, kopi o, or it's all coffee with milk. Or like just called kopi with water, hot water. So generally we grew up with that. So it takes a little bit of time for like us to educate the market, but we can see that in today's generation, like the younger ones, especially like the generation Alpha or the millennials or Gen Z, for example, we are a little bit more exposed to specialty coffee, a little bit more like drinking like a Americano or a latte. It's starting to become like a daily habit compared to before. But you still see like people rather just go to kopi tiam kopi because it's cheaper or it tastes sweeter. Yeah, it's not bitter.
Now they want to try
something new. So which is good. So you get to see the evolution, or you get to see a dynamic mix of different market segments. And also, like, we're also very grateful, like in Malaysia, I think in Indonesia you guys have kopi kenangan, right?
Yeah, we do.
And then of course, like in Malaysia we have very similar, like Zeus Coffee and Gigi Coffee. And of course we also have kenangan as well. So I think they are also starting to make like people understand like, oh, there's also such coffees that are available at an affordable prices.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it becomes a little bit, it actually helps the specialty coffee to open the door a little bit better now. Compared to like, you know, if you just Starbucks or like Coffee Bean or like Gloria Jeans. So generally, these are more commercial, but I think for them, they're doing more gourmet grade, or a little bit more specialty grade coffees. So this also, like I said, like it helps open the doors for specialty coffee cafes to present our coffees a little bit better. Yeah.
Well, I think.
Are you guys ready for coffee?
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna be bringing you guys some amazing coffee and hope you guys enjoy it.
Thank you.
All right, sure. My second round in 2019. Okay, you can feel like it's different than 2017 because you get to see like, you know, everyone starts to up game, the competition became stiff, and of course as I age, it's like you can't drink as much coffee as before. Yeah.
How is it a lot of changes after you went 2 times, right?
Yes, correct.
The first one and the second one, is it the what is it called, the ambience of the competitiveness, is it different?
Very different. I think
You're used to it? Used to be like...
I'm used to it in a way. I feel like competing is like, of course I do get nervous. I think it's very natural to be nervous, but I think because you are excited for it.
Yeah.
And I think you generally, if you get used to, if you understand the rules and regulations, and of course if you understand the score sheets a little bit better, I think it's very, very important for you to, you know, get used to it. You'll slowly like get to enjoy the stage, having fun. And because most important is everyone's like competing so seriously, but they also tend to forget like you need to have fun as well. Because it's not all about just competition. You know, it's like it doesn't. I don't feel like, oh, competition is like my life. You know, it's going to be like, oh, if I don't get into competition, it's the end for me. No, it's not like that. It's like
you don't have the mental like, anyways.
Yeah.
The first time that you compete, like, did you ever have that thought, like, oh my god, I failed or something like that?
No, I didn't. Because my first time was like no expectation.
Oh, okay. So you were like, oh, this is good enough.
Correct.
I'm happy with it.
Correct. I'm happy with it because at the end of the day, it's like,
Nice.
yeah. Because at the end of the day, it's like, you know, you want to compete with the best. And whatever happens, like, you have to be mentally prepared for the good and for the bad. I think a lot of people, they tend to forget about this part. Yeah, and I was very grateful, like, even for this year, you know. To be honest with you, this year, everyone expected me to be national champion again because, you know, when the results were announced that, oh, I was first runner-up. But for me, was I disappointed? A bit, but it wasn't like crushing me, like, oh, you know, you're a loser, or no, you failed. No, not necessarily.
Because you have something to do, yeah? Like you have to care about the brand.
Yeah.
You have to, you know, growing up, your Curate
Yeah, like
Coffee.
keep your name.
Correct. So everyone had expectation, but at the end of the day, it's like it's a competition, and you know, people, it's a one person has to be the champion anyway, you know.
Yeah,
and I have a goal of why I want to compete, and what is my direction. But doesn't mean that if I'm not the champion, I won't continue doing it. Yeah, I will still continue what I'm doing because at the end of the day, it's like don't allow yourself to be swathed by the competition just because you cannot make it. Yeah, so I have to be very positive and just be like I was on stage. I got to give credit to the Philippines barista champion Gio because he said to me, but before when I was like training, he did drop me a text like, Shaun, you know, whatever you do, always be mentally prepared for the good and for the bad, and whatever it is, you should have no regrets. And exactly what happened to me on stage. So this year was amazing for me because even though I was second place, but I did not have that like, you know, like, yeah, I have to win. I must be the champion. Yeah. For me, everyone's really, really amazing this year, and I feel like I was competing with the best brewers this year. Because everyone was like so you know, they have leveled up so much from where I saw them previously, maybe a few years ago, and to where they are now. I think I really enjoy having them with me on the same stage, and yeah, I couldn't be prouder, definitely.
Oh, that's really amazing.
Are you gonna compete next year?
You
just go, I don't know.
So you're addicted to it?
No, actually, I decided to take a break because of what happened to me. This year, my journey was actually, I think it was great. I think what I always say, like, I think it was God telling me, I think it is not your time. Because of what happened during my training. So in late February this year, I actually suffered an injury. But I didn't know about this injury until very much later. So what happened was I had a tennis elbow. So I would like like as if you're playing tennis, but it's because I was training a lot.
Because you use your
I was brewing coffee, yeah. So and I was using an elevated scale.
Yeah.
So I was brewing here, and my arm was always on this angle, right? So I kept on brewing and brewing. I was brewing more like 30 to 40, 50 cups of coffee per day.
Yeah.
So it was repetitive movement.
Yeah.
So I thought it was just a normal sore. And what happened to me was that I kept icing it, and then it was okay. But I went to the gym and I started lifting like my usual, and then that was the end.
Oh no.
Yes.
So you keep using your right hand.
Correct. And what I found out later was that when I went for chiro, I presented my symptoms, or I have this like tennis elbow thing, and he was saying that, oh, it's not just a tennis elbow that you have, you also have a nerve injury. It's called cubital tunnel. Yeah.
But it's good to have a break, right?
Correct. So from there, I already knew that, okay, I'll just push through my nationals, but whatever happens to me, I think that health always comes first.
Yeah, exactly. You need to take a rest.
Yeah.
You did so good like these few
you.
years.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Thank you.
It's really good.
Thank you.
Well, we have the time already.
Thank you.
It's very nice talking to you in front of the camera.
Thank you.
Also.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
No problem. Thank you. Thank you guys for coming, and hope to see you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.